Hi everyone, long time no see. I wanted to make a video about how to overcome blocks to being your true self in life and what to do when things go wrong. So what I wanted to start with explaining is that human beings are part of the divine intelligence of the universe, and that there are three areas that you have to look at in your life when things are going wrong. The first is self-actualization, the second is collaboration, and the third is service. So normally when we're blocking the universal love from entering or blocking the giving of love, it's in one of those three areas. So whenever you're stuck on something, let's say you're having trouble making friends or with your business or with your relationship, you come back to these three essential steps. You come back to self-actualization, collaboration, and service. So you ask yourself, how am I not showing up as my true self in this situation? What would the universe have me say? What would it have me do? How would it have me be? How am I not being the loving person that I truly am in this situation? What am I not giving? And when you have the answers to those questions, you go to collaboration. So am I just trying to serve myself and get what I want in the situation? Or am I trying to be of service to the universe, to other people? Do I have other people's interests at heart here? Am I being generous, both with my money and with my emotional support? Am I affirming? Am I validating? Am I acknowledging other people? So particularly around collaboration, judgment comes up, fear of, inferiority comes up, competition comes up. Am I competing or am I collaborating on every level of my consciousness? Because you might be spiritually and intellectually thinking you're collaborating, but emotionally you're giving off the energy of competition, or your behavior is in such a way, your body language says, I think I'm better at this than you. And that happens a lot. So it's very important to watch your behavior and take the feedback that comes to your way around those issues. And the final one is service. It's how does this project and my contribution to it, how can it be of service to the highest good of all living things? And it's, the Course in Miracles says that we're not to make any decisions by ourselves, in the sense of we're always supposed to tune in to that deeper part of us, to that bit that we really are, and make our decisions from that space versus making decisions from emotions or thoughts that are floating around at the time. And you can't get things wrong in that sense, learning wise, because if the Course in Miracles says that you don't choose the lessons that you have in your life, you just choose whether you learn through service or whether you learn through suffering, and everybody has a very individual curriculum of lessons that they're here to learn. So when you're in a situation that definitely isn't necessarily what the universe would have created for you or what it would have wanted for you, but your ego led you that way or your fears led you that way, it doesn't matter, because the universe is going to intervene anyway if you ask it for help, and you will get lessons from it anyway. So if you just follow your guidance, what happens is you come across a situation and you do what your heart tells you to do. You give love, you give patience, you give mercy, you collaborate, you self-actualize, you are of service. And after that experience, you're like, wow, that was amazing. This stuff really works. I collaborated, I was of service, and, I really self-actualized in that space. And the opposite happens in the sense of you make a mistake, you blow it, you screw up, and you go, wow, I didn't collaborate. I wasn't of service and I didn't self-actualize in that space. This stuff really works. And because I failed to show up in that way, now this is what's happened instead of what could have happened or the potential for that particular space. And that's when you ask for a miracle, is when you realize, that's not really working out. And a lot of people ask me, how do you know the difference? And the difference is the energy or the happiness in that space. If you are doing what you're supposed to be doing, then it will be peaceful space. It will become a more loving space with your presence in it, even if it's hard. And that's where often the power of silence and the power of prayer come in very, very handy. Because when you're dealing with a difficult situation, and you speak too fast or too harshly, you normally block the good that you would have been able to contribute had you just said a prayer inside your mind, had you blessed the person in front of you, had you asked for their healing, had you recognized their suffering when you saw it. And it's a very, very deep level of inquiry. And that's why superficial spirituality doesn't work, especially around blocks. It's not enough to say, oh yeah, I have a fear of intimacy, or I have fear of success or fear of failure. Because the truth is, it doesn't really matter what fear you have. Your ego is going to use it to try and block you or to sabotage you. What really matters is that you understand that you are a cause, and your thoughts and your emotions and your experience are the effect. So it's not about, and this is the level of spiritual inquiry that is required. It's not that anyone is to blame. And this is where, a lot of spiritual shit hits the fan, really. Because if you don't study spirituality in depth enough, if you don't build the emotional muscle, it's like you're paying lip service to the difference between responsibility and blame, or the difference between correction and blame. And people can sense it. People can really feel it in your energy. If you're saying to them, you created this, with an energy of it's your fault, or you got it wrong. That's not the time or the place when someone is suffering to be telling them something like that. That's the time to be being with someone. That's the time to be loving someone. That's the time to be praying for their suffering to end and for miracles to occur in their life silently inside your mind. That's the time to be making cups of tea and holding someone's hand and having conversations. It's not the time to be getting on a spiritual high horse, and it's definitely not the time to be using your knowledge or your spiritual awareness to distance yourself from the pain of the other person. And that's what we're really dealing with here, is when we feel emotionally blocked, when we feel stuck, we really have to get to that level of depth of inquiry of what is it that I'm not giving? When I'm with other people and I'm self-actualizing, to self-actualize, I have to be the love that I'm capable of being in the world. And like a cell inside the body, after the cell is formed, it's driven to collaborate with other cells for the greater functioning of the body or the organism. And it's the same thing with human beings. After you reach self-actualization, you start to want to collaborate with other people in order to be able to help the healthy functioning of humanity. In order for that collaboration to be of service to the healthy functioning of the planet, to the healthy functioning of humans, to the healthy functioning of the animal kingdom, wherever it is that your divine purpose assigns you. And when you're feeling isolated, when you're feeling judgmental, when you're feeling angry, when you're feeling disconnected, when you're feeling superior, when you're feeling inferior, when you're feeling triggered, whatever's coming up, whether you're getting into, I know more than these people, and, you've got some story going on, we normally think about how painful it is to be experiencing these thoughts and feelings. We don't think about how painful it is for other people to be in the presence of those thoughts and feelings. It's really not nice to be in the presence of somebody who thinks that they know more than you, or they're cleverer than you, or they've got something figured out that you don't have figured out. Also not nice to be in the presence of someone who doesn't really believe that you are as good as them, or that you are as loving as they are, or that they're just not as spiritual as you. And it's very painful for other people to be around that. It's very painful to collaborate with somebody who thinks so little of you. So it's very important to watch and make sure that you speak well of the people that you're collaborating with, and that you speak well of your friends and of your family, and that you make sure that you honor the connection that's between you, and that when you have a problem, that you really address it first on the level of prayer and healing, and then either with the individual concerned or with people who are intimately involved, so that that it's for the purposes of that individual's healing. You know, so when you get together to speak about a problem that somebody's causing in your life, you know, ask the person that you're with to pray with you or to meditate with you for this person's healing and happiness. You know, try to focus it in a way that you are being authentic with what it is that you are doing. And it is very important to be honest when you're dealing with blocks with other people as well as blocks inside the world, but to really understand that where you're blocked, or where this external block is being caused in your life, that's where that person or society is wounded. It's not where they're bad, it's where they're wounded. And like when a little child wanders up to you with a cut finger, you know, you kiss it, you go, you know, I'm going to kiss it better, I'm going to make it better. You don't slap that child and be like, you know, why the hell are you showing me your finger? You know, it's the same thing with people. It's the same thing with society. And we're too superficial in our spirituality when it comes to others. Like, I just don't want to deal with your shit. Or, you know, you're pulling me down to this lower vibrational level. Or, you know, I don't really connect with that kind of behavior, without actually realizing that these are assignments. You know, an assignment doesn't mean rescuing someone. An assignment means delivering that energy to God. It means, or to the universe, whatever word you use for it. It means coming across someone else's pain and asking for the love and the light of the universe to be upon it. Asking that their suffering be ended. It's standing on the ground that the universe is great, and that it's infinitely powerful, and that it's unlimited, and that it has the capacity to undo and to end the suffering of this human being, and or this wall that you're facing, whether it's sexism or racism or homophobia, or, you know, ageism, or whatever it is that you're facing. The universe has the power to overcome these blocks, and you're being shown these in order that you might be of service, in order that you might self-actualize through collaboration with others, and then serve humanity by bringing that higher vibration down to this level. And it's really important for you to recognize the miracle inside the block, as it were, that it's showing you, since every outside block is an internal block, what's still inside all of us as a collective, and that we are all responsible for what's happening as all of us as a collective. We can't go around saying, oh, you know, we're all one when it's convenient, and then when we're in pain, be like, oh, that's just their stuff. You know, you really have to sink deep into that multidimensional, expansive, united presence that you are, that permeates all of humanity and all of the plant life and all of the animal life and all the different kingdoms, and recognize the responsibility that lies with that. And ask yourself, you know, what am I not giving inside this space? You know, and it's not just about the behavior, because you can be smiling and speaking a nice tone of voice and thinking, oh my God, get me away from this person. You can be pretending that everything's wonderful when inside you're dying, or you're sad, or you're really not okay. And the universe can't take from you what you will not give it. So that's really one of the most powerful things when it comes to blocks, is to get radically honest with what it is that you can't handle, and admit when it's bigger than you. You know, when you're coming across the same block over and over again, it's time to get on your knees and say to the universe, okay, this block is bigger than me. You know, I can't handle it. I try my best to stop doing this behavior, and I can't stop. You know, I really, it's out of my control. You know, it's become a cycle inside my life. I can't stop drinking, or I can't stop isolating, or I can't stop judging people. I can't stop being, you know, miserly. I can't stop being rescuey. I can't stop being superior and needy. And I really see that the effect this is having in my life and in the life of others. And it's when you say that to the universe, and you say, I need a miracle, I need you to shift this from me, books fall at your feet, people come into your life, the blocks start to dissolve. And it might take 28 days, you know, like the cycle of the moon, or 30 days. It might take that daily prayer and meditation. In fact, for me, it always does. I get some overnight miracles when I'm really ready to let go of something. But sometimes, you know what, it's my resistance to the change that's the issue. In fact, for most people, it's our very own resistance. And when you hear this stuff of, yeah, you know, I just attract the wrong person into my life, it's like, well, yeah, but you're a cause, and they might be the effect, but they're that person, that part of them shows up in the presence of who you're being. So who are you being that attracts this sort of, energy into your space? And what are you doing that then brings out the darkness inside this person? Because it's really, really, really interesting how some people will, meet one person and really not be able to get along with them, and then meet somebody else. And they'll be really able to get along with them. And the only difference is where you're coming from. And that includes when you're telling somebody something difficult or when you're being honest. It's that, and make no mistake, you will screw this up. Everybody screws this up in the beginning. It's a practice. But it's getting to that point where you really start to take responsibility, and you really start to get to the point where you're like, oh my God, I blew it. I really, really blew it. I really could have been kinder or gentler. I may have been saying that I forgave this person on the surface, but inside I was just thinking how much of a dick they were and how much I couldn't trust them. I may have, said that I was over this block, or be beating myself up about this block and not about what to do, instead of actually getting down on my knees and allowing the universe to touch that block with its hand and to dissolve it within me. I may really not understand what it is within me that needs to be adjusted here. This is just a superficial exploration. I'm just talking about a fear of intimacy. I'm not looking at how that fear of intimacy is caused by sexism inside me, is caused by blocks that I have in my gender, so my ability to be the man or the woman that I'm capable of being, or is caused by my superiority, or believing I'm better educated, or my culture, or my class. I'm not really looking deeply at what I'm failing to give in this space, whether it's respect, integrity, mercy, grace. And then I can't ask for God or the universe to give me that. I can't ask for it to be placed within me. And that's where the problem is not that